computer, smart TV, or mobile device, and search for the channel Wekiva Sports. Again, Wekiva Sports on YouTube. We also simulcast on the NFHS network. And for those of you who are doing just that, we welcome you to Mustang Arena. My name is Mark Barchi, voice of the Mustangs and sports information director here at Wekiva High School. And I am joined by Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief. We will be taking you through this final game of the 2021 Preseason Classic.
So Wekiva, the home team in the white jerseys, Pine Ridge in black. And we're going to start off right away. Richard Lara lowering that shoulder, going withdrawal +1.
Foul is called against number 34, Joshua Griffin, his first, and the team's first. Basket good by Lara, shooting one.
So as Mark likes to say here in the preseason, as Lara drops the free throw, and we are now, Wekiva trails 3-0. The scores don't count, but if you're Pine Ridge, you're looking to get a win tonight after losing 73-46 against Apopka in the opener. You like to go back to Deltona with an even record, 1-1 during the preseason. Wekiva trying to sweep both of its games after taking a 78-35 victory over Lake Region on Monday night. As Mark mentioned, this is the fourth and final game of the 2021 Men's Basketball Wekiva Preseason Classic.
Foul called against number 2, Damon Harris, his first and the team's first.
The two other teams competing in this tournament played earlier, the game before this one. As a steal, Doucette, Bannister was not looking, and Harris takes
Damon
advantage.
Harris picks up the layup for the Panthers.
Apopka defeating Lake Region by a 71-16 score. And we are now settling into this game. Hammond drives the lane, the finger roll, and much-needed points for Wekiva, 5-2.
Jamaric Hammond puts the Mustangs on the board.
So Wekiva, as I mentioned, looking to sweep both preseason classics. They came out with a strong start as Lara drops the shoulder, but does some footwork, and finger rolls the deuce.
Ricardo Lara on the Panther layup.
Lara so far has been the star, the standout. A couple of baskets, actually 5 points. And he has been relying on the traditional big men move. But Prophet answers, draining the rain.
Prophet for 3 on the pass from Jamaric Hammond.
And just like that, 7-5 now. The lead's been cut into. So a much different start for Wekiva than Monday against Lake Region. Certainly they were early. There's still a lot of game to be played.
Hand check is called against Jamaric Hammond, his first and the team's second. Pete Lewis is into the game.
However, Wekiva trailing early. They got off to an 8-0 lead and 12-2 lead against Lake Thunder on Monday night. This is Lara again, driving the baseline and makes the withdrawal.
Ricardo Lara to the paint for 2.
And Lara already up to 7 points, 2 minutes in. And Wekiva's going to have to come up with an answer for the big guy.
Yeah, he just seems to have the innate ability to move people out of the way.
Yeah, this is Prophet trying to drop the ball off to Griffin. And no dice, the Pine Ridge defense jumped right in front. A much different looking Pine Ridge team, I got to admit, Mark, than we saw Monday against Apopka as they go off the bank again, kissing the glass.
Trayvon League down the baseline for 2, and we'll pause for a Mustang timeout. 30-second timeout requested by Wekiva. We'll be back from Mustang Arena with more of Game 4 here at the 2021 Preseason Classic right after the break.
Mustang Arena, the site of the fourth and final 2021 Preseason Classic. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi, along with the broadcast production department at Wekiva. Wekiva with possession of the ball. They trail 11-5, a much different start than we saw Monday in their first game. of not only the preseason classic, but the season in general. And now an opportunity for Pine Ridge to further increase that lead, get it up to 8 points.
Vosi Profit there is called for traveling, Panthers ball.
So Pine Ridge broke out on front, scoring the first 5 points. Wekiva cut the lead to 7-5. And Profit, who just committed the foul, drained the tray to cut that lead to 7-5. But 6 consecutive points now by Pine Ridge. 4 by Lara, 2 by League, and one good turnover deserves another. Bannister Doucette to Charles. Kisses the glass, 11-7. Another long outlet pass. This is Lara. And again, he's just lowering that shoulder and taking advantage of his big size.
Push is called against Mustangs, number 4. Isaiah Bannister Doucette, that's his first personal foul, the team's third.
Should be 7, Mark. This is Lara again going to work in this middle against Bannister Doucette. This time he can't get the kiss off the glass. Scramble on the floor, jump ball, Wekiva possession. So that's a big turnover, or big no successful field goal attempt for Wekiva. If Pine Ridge does score the deuce, they are down by 6, which in itself is not a big deal, but it's just the fact that Wekiva cut into that lead, and now they give that back up. And look for Hammond. Slash and dash. Kissed finger roll.
Jamaric Hammond on the Mustang layup. So Wekiva trying to right the ship here before it comes too far off the rails, to mix the metaphor. And Hammond knew exactly what he did.
Ball remains with Pine Ridge. They have the 11-9 lead, 3.5 minutes into this final game of the preseason classic. Long over-the-top pass to Lara, who he can't quite corral it.
No, that's out of bounds. Mustangs ball. Checking back into the game for Wekiva, number 1, Darius Livingston.
So Wekiva, despite the somewhat rough start, inconsistent, uneven, they have a chance to tie this game, trailing 11-9. This is Hammond. Over to the right wing, back to Hammond. Stop, pop, and drain the range.
Jamaric Hammond from Darius Livingston for 3.
Never mind tying. Wekiva takes the lead, their first lead of the game. Pine Ridge broke out to a 5-0 lead.
Jamaric Hammond is called with a block. It's his second personal foul, the team's 4th. Panthers ball at the sideline.
So Jamaric Hammond doing some good, but also a couple fouls, as Mark just announced.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see, picking up your second foul only halfway through the first quarter. If he gets into foul trouble, that's a real dagger to the heart, because he is a leader for the Mustangs.
Yeah, Coach Lubin is going to trust him, though. Again, a senior, has been on the varsity team for 4 years, came up midway through his freshman season.
Ricardo Lara is fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Panthers. Mustang foul called against number 11, Pete Lewis. That's his first personal foul, the team's 5th.
And just like that, Mark, it seems to be very quiet, but Wekiva has 5 fouls, and we're just past the halfway point of the first quarter.
Yeah, so far tonight is going a lot better than Monday night did for the Panthers. The Mustangs are certainly staying in it, but are not enjoying
a much different feel, much different performance.
And a much different pace. Both of these teams are playing a little bit more relaxed of a game than what we saw on Monday, which was quite frenetic. Lake Region was pretty much fast break or bust on every play.
They were playing football on the basketball court. It was like watching the old TCU teams under Gary Patterson about 5 years ago. 30-yard passes every opportunity. So 3.5 minutes remaining.
And the officials are going to say Jason Brown touched that last, so it'll stay with the Mustangs at the opposing baseline.
And also to your point, Mark, about much different start for both these teams, you just get the feeling that Pine Ridge the last 2 days has been thinking we need to play on a mission. And in particular, Lara, who just threw that long outlet pass and it got down under the basket. Brown, he's collapsed on, but doing the Windex and the withdrawal. Kalo Ramos. So Wekiva did rally. They took a 12-11 lead about 45 seconds ago, but now they trail 15-12. 4 consecutive points and an opportunity to get 6 in a row for Pine Ridge. But before that, Coach Lubin is going to talk to his troops. A timeout called by the Wekiva coach.
Full timeout requested by Wekiva. We'll be back from Mustang Arena in a moment.
Mustang Arena, the site of the 2021 Wekiva Men's Basketball Preseason Classic. The fourth and final game. Wekiva trailing 15-12 to the Pine Ridge Panthers. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi. Thank you for joining us tonight. A 5-0 lead taken by Pine Ridge. Wekiva rally took a 12-11 lead. Pine Ridge has scored 4 in a row, and they have possession of the ball. They had possession. An errant inbound pass. Charles picks it up, and the withdrawal, and Wekiva cuts the lead to 15-14.
Adia Charles steals a layup for the Mustangs.
Under 3 minutes in the first quarter now, and before the break, Mark, we talked about just a very different feel for both of these teams as Lara launches the tray, rims in and out, but doing Windex work is number 40, Brown.
By Jason Brown.
So Pine Ridge, really, you just get the feeling that after losing to Apopka, and they're going to get another turnover here and draw the foul, and that's the third on Jameer. Don't expect 3 fouls committed by the seniors, but Pine Ridge just looks and feels like they are on a mission. They've spent the last 2 days thinking about that loss as Hardy shoots short, saved. Bannister Doucette trying to make the long outlet, and yes, he will get away with it into the lane, but Livingston.
Damon Harris comes up with the steal, and he's got it. That's Damon Harris, coast to coast for the Panthers.
So Pine Ridge lost to Apopka 73-46. They now have a 5-point lead under 2 minutes in the first quarter. And they are playing, again, I keep emphasizing this, like a team on a mission. As Lewis goes bank, kisses that glass.
Lewis for 2.
And in particular, Richard Lara, the big man, number 15. If you want to point at one individual who looks like he's on a mission,
Jason Brown steps out of bounds. Mustangs ball.
So Lara already dropping 9 points in this first quarter. Wekiva, though, staying close, 19-16. And we will see how much the 3 fouls on Hammond comes into play. That's Hardy who snagged the ball, but had to go out of bounds in order to do so.
Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 21, Vosi Prophet.
So Jameric Hammond, who drew his 3rd foul about 30 seconds ago, he's a senior, been on the team for 4 years, started for 3 seasons. That's an obvious as far as what you lose with him on the bench, but Coach Lubin described him as the engine, if you want to get a little bit more specific. Meanwhile, the baseline floater from Zuniga.
Elijah Zuniga picks up 2 for the Panthers.
And the other thing about this game is we talked about Pine Ridge being on a mission, and there's some of that translating to a turnover, but that being on a mission spurred them into the lead, but they have maintained that lead.
Foul called against number 0, Elijah Zuniga. That's his first personal foul, the team's 2nd.
Every time Wekiva scored a couple of baskets, Pine Ridge has answered, and they are now up by 5 as there's 45 seconds in the first quarter. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi with you. Thank you for joining us on a Wednesday night. Some good passing until that ball was flubbed by Profit.
Yeah, Neil, I think you jinxed him.
Yeah. They actually look like the team that we saw Monday night on that possession, and then unfortunately couldn't find the handle. So Pine Ridge has an opportunity to end this first quarter with a 3-possession lead. There is still 25 seconds, so they might not choose. This is Lara, again, mentioned him a couple of times, and he doesn't drop the basket that time. Long outlet to Charles, who kisses the glass for the deuce.
Both see Profit to Amia Charles in transition for 2.
So Wekiva dodges the proverbial bullet. They take advantage, cut the lead to 3. 5 seconds remaining. The drive, the float off the glass. Out of bounds, 1.3 seconds remaining. And Pine Ridge will maintain possession. Inbound pass to Lara. Quick shot. Short. And Wekiva, despite not looking quite like the team they did Monday night.
That takes us to the end of the first period, and it's a 3-point lead for the Panthers at the end of 8 minutes. 21-18 is the score going into the second quarter here in Game 4 of the 2021 Boys Basketball Preseason Classic.
An uneven and somewhat rough performance by Wekiva. However, as Mark mentioned, they still only 3 points down by a 21-18 score. Welcome back to Mustang Arena, home of the Wekiva Mustangs in the 2021 Wekiva Men's Basketball Preseason Classic.
The Panthers have the opening possession of the second quarter.
Pine Ridge breaking out to a 5-0 lead. They got cut. They lost it midway through that first quarter, but then they responded and closed out the quarter, scoring 4 of the last 6 points and hold a 21-18 lead. They have possession of the ball. They had possession of the ball. Bannister Doucette playing defensive back, stepping in front of the intended player receiving. And now a foul. That's Darius Livingston, number 1, drawing the foul. He's a newcomer.
Foul called against number 0, Elijah Zuniga. That's his second, the team's third.
Livingston, a freshman. The big story right now, if you're Wekiva, is Jamerick Hammond is on the bench with 3 fouls. And kissing the glass, Damon Harris.
Number 2, Damon Harris, steals 2 for the Panthers.
And now you're seeing the effects of your point guard, your 3-year starter on the bench. Again, Jamerick Hammond with 3 fouls. No good off the glass, but the Windex work done by Trayvon Legay.
League with a second chance basket.
And now the biggest lead of the night for Pine Ridge, a much different looking team than what we saw Monday against Apopka. Hardy committing to traveling again.
Traveling, the Panthers ball.
Jamerick Hammond's absent, 3 fouls. He's on the bench. You can see that how it translates to Wekiva's play. 2 consecutive turnovers.
Hammond back in now.
Yeah, Hammond, number 3. Again, Coach Lubin refers to him as the engine. He's going to have to be careful with 7 minutes remaining. But at this point, you can't afford to keep Hammond out. You're down by 7.
And here Lara gets called for traveling. Mustangs ball.
So Wekiva getting a break there. So at least if you're Coach Lubin, once again, you got to put Hammond back in, not only because you're down by 7, but possession was with Pine Ridge. You no longer have to worry about the possession, but Wekiva is not going to be able to take advantage of that. Lara mentioned it several times. This is a Pine Ridge team that just came in tonight. Looks like they're on a mission. They have something to prove. They feel like
Mustang
they need to right
foul
the
called
wrong.
Against number 23, Jermaine Hardy. That is his first personal foul, the team's 8th, and it puts Trayvon League shooting 1-on-1 bonus.
To finish that thought, Mark, Pine Ridge looks like they feel the need to right the wrong of losing to Apopka by 27 points on Monday. But if you want to look at one specific individual player, that is Richard Lara, who really got the ball. It was the reason that Pine Ridge was at the free throw line. Got the rebound and got the quick outlet. And now Hammond will take the tray and drains the ring.
Hammond from downtown from Jermaine Hardy. Well, there's your reward when you take the risk of putting a guy with 3 fouls into the game.
Yeah. And there's also the experience of Hammond. Kissing the glass. League.
Trayvon League from Ramos for 2.
As Pine Ridge took the lead early, and they have maintained it for most of this game. And that's probably what's most impressive, is that they have answered every Wekiva challenge.
Pete Lewis fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. The push is called against number 24, Yantriel Ramos. That's his first personal foul, and the team's 4th.
So Wekiva trailing 28-21 with, as Mark said, Pete Lewis, the newcomer, 6'2" senior, moving up from JV at the line. So Mark, if you do hear his voice after a basket, that's because he is also the public address announcer here.
Lane violation. Panthers ball.
And a reminder that tomorrow the girls basketball, the Metro West tournament will be underway. 3 games here at Wekiva, as Hammond ties up Lara, and no call, and Hammond continues to battle. Will get the ball, tries to kiss the glass.
Jamaric Hammond fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Mustangs. Foul is called against Panthers number 20, Trayvon League. That's his first personal foul, and the team's 5th. So Hammond continues to get the job done, coming back into the game with 3 fouls, so far keeping his nose clean since he returned to the lineup, and his first shot is good. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 12, Abia Charles.
So the Wekiva girls basketball team, they will be playing at 7:30 tomorrow. That's the Metro West Conference Tournament for girls basketball, the very first, as the score is now 28-24. And
Panther foul called against number 23, Elijah Laird on the hold. That's his first personal foul, the team's 6th, and we'll pause for a 30-second timeout called by the Panthers.
So Wekiva continues to hang around, making just enough plays to keep that lead from growing to no more than 6. We go into the timeout, 28-24 lead held by Pine Ridge. The preseason classic continues on. This is Wekiva with possession. They trail 28-24. That's Charles riding that baseline, and some good defense by Pine Ridge, forcing him out of bounds.
Yeah, he rode that baseline a little too close.
Yeah, discretion was the better part of valor there, to use an old cliche. Certainly would have been better served to look for a pass and reset. Nonetheless, 5 minutes remaining. Harris sets up the Pine Ridge offense, and he draws the foul before making the drive.
Foul called against Mustangs, number 23, Jermaine Hardy. That's his second personal foul, the team's 9th. At the line, shooting 1-1, number 2, Damon Harris.
So Harris at the line with Pine Ridge up 28-24. Front end no good, so no second shot. Wekiva looking to improve on the 11-15 season. Hammond pass gets away with a bad one out to Livingston, wide right. Actually wide left, completely over the rim. The long outlet, and no basket, but opportunity to score the points as Harris draws the foul.
Damon Harris is fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. The foul called against Mustangs, number 21, Vosi Prophet. That's his first personal foul, and the team's 10th.
So Wekiva, 11-15 might not sound like much to write home about. That was their record last season. But the season before that, they were 3-22, so certainly an 8-game improvement. Obviously, the point I'm making is they're looking to continue to make that improvement. Last year, they were in District 6A4 as we got some Windex work. Unfortunately, Wekiva dodges a bullet. Hammond will bring it up. This year, they're in 6A5. Last year in 6A4, they won the first round of the district championship tournament against Southlake, but then lost to the state-ranked Forest
Foul
team.
called against number 2, Damon Harris, his second, the team's 7th. That puts the Mustangs into bonus. Jamaric Hammond at the line, shooting 1-1.
And as you mentioned, Mark, Wekiva now in the bonus. Pine Ridge has been in the bonus for about 3 minutes. So we'll see how free throws play a role as we conclude the first half of this last game of the preseason classic. So again, Wekiva moved into District 6A5. The other members of that district is East River, Edgewater, Lake Howell, Lyman, New Smyrna Beach, and Winter Springs. So certainly the situation keeps changing as Hammond tries to get the tip. Controlled, though, by Carlo Ramos. And now he will set up the offense. Zuniga, extended right. Stops and takes the shot himself. Doesn't draw a rim. Scramble. Pine Ridge comes up with it again. Can't see which player. Kicks it out to Zuniga. He kicks it to the tray land. No dice.
Get it to fall.
No dice for Lard. And Wekiva comes back the other way. Hammond in the corner. He'll take the tray and convert.
Jamaric Hammond from Livingston for 3.
And guess what? For all their trials and tribulations, for all the uneasy play, Wekiva has a 29-28 lead. And
out of bounds, Mustangs ball.
And Wekiva can further extend that lead. Second time tonight, Wekiva has taken the lead. They led at 12-11 midway through the first quarter. And we're going to have a timeout. We'll see if Wekiva can further extend that 29-28 lead. Wekiva on a 5-0 run.
Full timeout called by the Panthers.
Wekiva on an 8-0 run. Wekiva on an 8-0 run. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Score now 29-28. Wekiva with its second lead of the game in possession of the ball, forcing 3 turnovers on the last 5 possessions. Pine Ridge in the black. And no call there. The drive by Lewis. And Kalo Ramos grabs the rebound. Double teamed And that's going to lead to a turnover. Lewis picking up the loose ball. And he's fouled by Kalo Ramus. Hip-to-hip contact.
Pete Lewis fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. Foul called against number 24, Yandriel Kalo Ramos. That's his second personal foul, the team's 8th. Lewis shooting 2.
So Lewis, a newcomer, moving up from junior varsity last season.
Checking into the game for Pine Ridge, number 21, John Chris Santana.
So we've talked about this throughout the game, Mark. A much different looking Wekiva team, as the ball is going to remain with Wekiva.
Yeah, that was Trayvon League who had to dive too far to get it.
It does look like Wekiva is finding its sea legs, so to speak, now in the last 2 to 3 minutes. Again, an 8-0 run has put them in the lead by a 29-28 lead. Wekiva shot 50% from the field, 29 of 58, and they up that lead.
Profit on the inbound from Jamara Hammond for 3.
Wekiva shot 54% from 2-point range Monday night. They were well below that up until about 3 minutes ago, but I think they certainly have righted the ship, as you like to say. Hammond going for that tray and gets the roll. It's raining from the left wing.
Hammond once again for 3.
And so, as I mentioned, a very slow start in terms of a very cold start in terms of field goal percentage, but now you're seeing them turn that around. And Wekiva now on a 14-0 run. Pine Ridge not going away, though. Some strong work under the board. They rotate it to the left wing. And a travel.
Traveling Mustangs ball. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 12, Avia Charles.
So Pine Ridge with an opportunity to get a basket to get Wekiva out of sync on defense. And they make the mistake, a traveling call. And really, Mark, that's an unforced error. That's the difference between the last, say, 4 minutes and the first 10 minutes of this game. It was Wekiva who was making the unforced errors. This is Profit, 15-foot J, no good. Ramos clears the bound, and we come back the other way. Ball comes loose. Somebody got a hand in there. Charles picks up the loose ball under 2 minutes. Profit back to Charles. He's going to drive the lane, kicks it out. Another good pass up to Charles. The fake, the drive, the lane. Finger roll plus
Charles
1.
And 1.
Finger roll plus 1 from Charles. And the run continues for Wekiva with 1:46 remaining.
Foul called against number 23, Elijah Laird. His second personal foul, the team's 9th.
So a 16-0 run now by Wekiva. And at least for the moment, it's going to remain at 16 consecutive. And we're going to also have a foul.
Foul called against number 4, Isaiah Bannister-Duchette on the rebound. That's his second personal foul, and the Panthers continue into double bonus at the line, shooting 2, number 15, Ricardo Lara.
So Lara, who came out like the proverbial house of fire, scoring 9 points through the first 10 minutes or so. And that's a point that Pine Ridge certainly needs. Not only when you're down by 9, you want to cut into that lead, but again, a 16-0 run by Wekiva. If you're Pine Ridge, you need to get a couple points to slow down that momentum. Second basket good. Again, that breaks a streak of 16 consecutive points for Wekiva. Profit from the right corner. Stop, pop, and drop for the sophomore.
Profit for 2.
And those are key points for Wekiva. They just lost their streak, and now they come back and get back, put some more points on the board. From the right corner, clanks, bounces off the rim, and a foul on the rebound. 1:18 remaining.
Hit is called against Mustangs number 11, Pete Lewis. That's his third personal foul. And so Jason Brown is shooting 2 here and hits the first.
First points of the night for Brown.
So all those early fouls are now starting to come back and haunt Wekiva as double bonus is converted a couple of times.
Yeah, well, really, both teams are being haunted now. They're both in double bonus.
Returning to the game for the Mustangs, number 23, Jermaine Hardy.
So if you're Brown, the second point is huge. Again, Wekiva went on a 16-0 run, and you're trying to get as many points as you can to offset that. It will not happen this time. And a couple of long outlet passes, and now that Pine Ridge defense is going to work. Haven't seen that in about 4 minutes or so. Making life difficult for Abaya Charles, and he does turn the ball over.
Block is called against number 15,
Excuse me, it is
Ricardo
a foul.
Lara. That's his first personal foul, the team's 10th. At the line shooting 2 for the Mustangs, number 12, Abaya Charles.
So Charles at the line. He has 8 points, leading the Wekiva attack, along with Profit.
Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 34, Joshua Griffin.
So you just heard Mark announce that Josh Griffin, the center, is coming in. He's a transfer from Edgewater, and score both points to Charles. And what was a very rough start for Wekiva, a team that just did not look like it brought its sea legs, so to speak, has turned around. They trailed for almost all of the first 10 minutes. Bounces off the rebound, and Griffin, the man who just came in, is involved. He's called for traveling, hit the ground and rolled.
Panthers ball.
And I know Coach Lubin didn't like the call. I could see his reaction towards the referee. But if you're Coach Lubin, you certainly got to be happy with Griffin's effort. So again, talking about the score, Wekiva trailing for almost all of the first 10 minutes as another turnover is committed by Pine Ridge.
John Chris Santana is called for traveling. Mustangs ball.
But since the 10-minute mark, about 2 minutes into the second quarter, Wekiva has certainly turned its fortunes around. A much better performance, just looking much more cohesive, much more smooth. There's one example, even though the ball didn't go in, that's Bannister Doucette, and he's still fighting for the ball. And now Wekiva turned a deficit into a 12-point lead from the corner. Clanks off the rim. Griffin, this time he does get the rebound. No call. Charles brings the ball up, the spin. And Wekiva, part of the reason they've turned their fortunes around is they certainly have picked up the pace, not only in terms of quickly getting the ball up the court, but the number of transition opportunities.
Foul called against number 21, John Chris Santana, his first personal foul. The Mustangs continue into double bonus at the line, shooting 2, number 12, Abia Charles.
And Mark, I would say that the biggest reason that Wekiva is now getting to the foul line, the free throw line, is because they are now creating more of those transition opportunities.
Yeah, certainly, Neil. Wekiva we've seen a lack of free throws in both directions as Charles does hit his second one. And I think that's going to be key for both of these coaches when they look back at the game film from this game tonight. As coaches like to say, free throws win ball games. And here we're going to get a foul call against Mustangs number 12, Abia Charles, his first. And that will put Pine Ridge back at the line for more double bonus, this time number 0, Elijah Zuniga.
Yeah, and the other part of that formula when you talk about fouls is you get 5 fouls, you're out of the game. So there are a number of players who are in foul trouble heading into that second half. Fortunately for Wekiva, we talked about this at the time, Jameric Hammond, the point guard, number 3, the senior, 4-year varsity player, 3-year starter, got 3 fouls. Third one called about a minute into the second quarter. He's kept his nose clean, and he's going to go get out of this first half without any more fouls. He's not on the court now. But that's not going to be the case for Pine Ridge's John Chris Santana, number 21.
John Chris Santana is called on the hand check. It's his second personal foul. At the line, shooting double bonus, number 1, Darius Livingston. Of course, your foul meter at the bottom of your screen there only goes up to 10, but for what it's worth, Wekiva has 13 and Pine Ridge has 12. which is part of the reason this game is taking so long. We already started late because Lake Region had some travel trouble getting here from Polk County. They hit some bad traffic. And so we started the whole shebang about 30 minutes late, and the last game ran pretty quickly. It ended with a running clock. This game, though, not so much.
Yeah, Lake Region lost to Apopka 71-16.
Mustang foul called against number 34, Joshua Griffin. That's his second personal foul.
So now there's 26 combined fouls. Still 6.8 seconds remaining in this first half. Wekiva with a 42-31 lead. Really been the first half for Wekiva a tale of two stories. They trailed for almost all of the first 10 minutes before going on a 16-0 run. And they'll get one last opportunity. No, Karim's off the rim. And so that 16-0 run propels Wekiva into a 42-31 lead at halftime against Pine Ridge.
That takes us to the midpoint of this fourth and final game in the 2021 Boys Basketball Preseason Classic. 42-31, the Mustangs have taken the lead going into the locker room. We'll be back from Mustang Arena with the second half, the eighth half total, and the final half of this preseason classic right after the break. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi joined by Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, ready to take you through the second half, and this will be the last 16 minutes of the preseason classic. As we get ready to go here.
Score is 42-31. Wekiva in the lead.
The Mustangs have the opening possession of the second half.
And that lead was basically taken on the strength of a 16-0 run, which occurred throughout most of the second quarter. And that first half was really a tale of two halves within one half. Wekiva with possession of the ball. That's Charles, who's the leading scorer with 11 points. Down to Bannister Doucette, turns around, couldn't catch rim. He was looking for a foul. And so the score remains 42-31. Wekiva got off to a very rough start. They just did not look like the team that played on Monday in their first game of the season, as the rejection from Lara trying to go baseline. And they fell behind 5-0. The lead was as many as 6, and then they caught fire, to use the old saying. Charles trying to play defensive back, but contact at the very last instant. Actually, it's going to be a foul on the Pine Ridge player.
Foul called against number 2, Damon Harris. That's his third personal foul, the team's first of the half. Yeah, I agree with the official there. I was waiting for him to call it before I said anything, but that was a fair and square steal by Abia Charles, and Damon Harris just decided he wasn't going to get away with it.
Speaking of steal, Harris steps in front, taps the ball away, and makes the withdrawal.
Damon Harris steals the Panther layup.
A couple of important deuces for Pine Ridge. Wekiva comes down at the other end. That's Griffin starting the second half, and he pulls out the Windex and gets the putback.
Second chance basket scored for the Mustangs by Joshua Griffin.
So again, a tale of two halves within one half for Wekiva, really for both teams. Pine Ridge came out, take the 5-0 lead. They got the lead all the way up to 6 as Lara tries to get the roll, and he doesn't, and the rebound and a foul, though, for Pine Ridge.
Foul called against Mustangs, number 21, Vosi Prophet. That's his second personal foul. And the team's first of this half.
So not only was it a tale of two halves within one half score-wise, but the statistics reflected as Lara goes reverse withdrawal.
Lara on the layup.
Wekiva putting together a 16-0 run, starting about a minute into the second quarter. Long-range bomb, no good. Hammond. He can't get it, kicks off that heel. Wekiva continues that board work. This is Charles, stop, pop, no drop. Bounds off the left side of the rim and pulling down the rebound. Number 20, Trayvon League.
Foul called against Mustangs, number 34, Joshua Griffin. That's his third personal foul and the team's second of this half.
Yeah, so basically the stats turned around as the score did. Pine Ridge came out, dominated the stats, shooting over 50% when they had the lead. They wound up in the second, finishing with 44% field goal range. Long rebound pulled down by Zuniga.
And Neil, you were talking about foul trouble. Those are really starting to add up. Wekiva had over a dozen fouls in the first half. They've already picked up 2 so far in this half as Zuniga can't get the jumper to fall. Putback not going to drop either, and it's going to go out of bounds.
Pine Ridge player hits the ground. That's League. So Wekiva's field goal percentage was under 30% when they were trailing, and they wound up ending the first half with a 58% clip, 14 of 24.
Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 11, Pete Lewis. So
both 14 to 13 in turnovers, Pine Ridge with the 14. And again, it was like 6-0 when Pine Ridge had that lead. The big difference, though, statistically, and this is where that 16-0 run, the underlying cause is Bannister Doucette tries to go baseline. He does, gets the ball out to Prophet. No call. I'm not necessarily saying that Prophet should have drawn the foul, but there was contact.
Well, yeah, the thing is that Ricardo Lara just stood completely still like a brick wall, and Prophet bounced off of him.
Yeah, that was just an odd-looking play. So, again, getting back to the statistics, the big one is the three-point field goal. Again, Wekiva shooting 58%. They rose from under 30 about 2 minutes into the second quarter. Pine Ridge went from over 50 to ending up with 44. But the three-point field goal shooting, Wekiva 6 of 11. That's 18 points. Pine Ridge 0 of 6. Obviously no points. So an 18-point differential. And the trend continues.
Trayvon Lee gets the basket and a chance to make it a three-point play. The foul is called against number 4, Isaiah Bannister-Duchette. That's his third personal foul and the team's third. So, Neil, we've been talking about fouls the whole game, now up to 3 in this half. You now have 4 Mustangs that have 3 fouls in the books. That would be Hammond, Pete Lewis, Joshua Griffin, and just now Isaiah Bannister-Duchette. So 4 Mustangs staring down the barrel of 3 fouls.
And Profit rattles in and out. Hammond pulls down the loose ball, though. And to finish up the statistics, 2-point field goals, a 24-16 advantage for Pine Ridge, so +8, but then +10 for Wekiva. Or actually +18 for Wekiva. And that's
spin move
Lewis.
draws the foul as Pete Lewis draws the foul on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against number 15, Ricardo Lara. That's his second personal foul.
Now,
and it's the team's second.
Lewis just twisting and turning among the big trees in front of the basket. Lewis with 3 points. And those are points that Wekiva could certainly use right now, given that Pine Ridge has scored 4 consecutive. And the second one, no doubt there. So that ups the lead to 7, 45-38. Hammond guarding Zuniga, bringing the ball up. Haven't seen much of this.
Yeah, certainly when you look at Monday night's game for Wekiva versus tonight's game, you see such a stark contrast as 2 in a row won't fall for the Panthers, and Hammond comes up with the rebound. Yeah. But, yeah, this has been such a scrappy game. No, not demonstrated any better than right there as Elijah Zuniga scores on the steal.
Yeah, I would add to that just uneven play. Just a lot of couple possessions where the ball movement's very smooth, and then a couple possessions of what we just saw. A lot of hands getting on the ball, and nobody really being able to come up with control of it. So a stoppage while some water is taken care of. That's on the left blocks of the Pine Ridge basket. The basket Pine Ridge is, the basket Wekiva is defending. And Jamaric Hammond, the senior guard, brings the ball up, sets the play in motion. Back out to Profit, who goes to Bannister-Duchette, trying to get that one extra pass to open up the inside guys, but Pine Ridge's defense has collapsed. Oh, Hammond will reset the play. Extended left to Charles, back to Lewis. Almost traveled, but was able to plant his foot, and the ball just does not cooperate. Stuck on the rim for about 2 seconds. Pine Ridge possession, trailing 45-40, 3.5 remaining in the third quarter. Again, Wekiva going into the lead with a 16-0 run, certainly demonstrating their capabilities at the utmost.
And that's something you really like to see if you're Coach Lubin, knowing that your team can overcome adversity and not lose the mental focus when things are not going your way.
Oh, a little bit of luck there and some skill.
Putback made by number 20, Trayvon Lee.
Yeah, I would sum up that first half in terms of the description. If you're Coach Lubin, you don't like the way the team came out, as the foul is drawn
Bosie
by
Profit is fouled behind the arc. He'll go to the line and shoot 3. The foul is called against.
So, again, Wekiva was shooting under 30% for about the first 10 minutes. They fell behind by right from the get-go and by as many as 6 points.
Number 2, Damon Harris, his 4th personal foul, the team's 3rd.
But if you're Coach Lubin, as Profit connects on the first.
At the line, shooting 2 for the Mustangs, number 21, Vosi Profit.
You have to be very happy with the way the team responded to falling behind by 6 points in that really rough start. Showed a lot of resiliency to be able to, once again, put together that 16-0 run and surge into the lead. And then you look at the underlying stats, field goal percentage rising from under 30 to 58% at halftime. Certainly all of that shows incredible resiliency. And now the lead is 48-42 as Profit drops 2 of the 3.
Mustang foul called against number 12, Avia Charles, his 2nd personal foul.
So one of the few players on the court that is not in foul trouble as 2.5 remain in the 3rd quarter. Pine Ridge continues to rotate the ball, and too much mustard from Lara.
Yeah, Jason Brown just wasn't ready for the ball to come in at that speed, and it went right through his hands. That's the kind of play you're used to seeing in football.
And Hammond inbounds the ball, and Wekiva comes down quickly. Hammond does have 20 points, by the way. The senior showing leadership expected of him. Now the baseline move by Profit.
Draws a foul.
4 fouls for both teams.
Foul called against number 24, Yandriel Kylo Ramos. That's his 3rd personal foul, the team's 4th. So, Neil, it looks like we're not going to get any reprieve from the fouls in the second half.
No.
Things are starting to shape up just the same way they did in the first half as Pete Lewis returns for the Mustangs.
But Jamerick Hammond has not picked up a foul. He got his 3rd foul about 2 minutes into the 2nd quarter. I think that is important to mention. Score the tray!
Profit 4-3 with a little help from the glass for the Mustangs.
Kissing the glass. And the lead back up to 9, 51-42. So again, despite all the fouls that Mark mentioned, none of them have been on Hammond since he drew his 3rd with 2 minutes into the 3rd quarter. Another tray launched. Profit continues to make his presence felt. He does not come up with the ball cleanly, but certainly sets the stage for a jump ball.
Held ball, possession. Panthers checking into the game for the Mustangs. Number 1, Darius Livingston, and number 23, Jermaine Hardy.
And Profit's work under the boards is important to note out that it did not allow Pine Ridge to get a second chance opportunity. So Zuniga drives the lane, ball stripped, picked it up, short. Some more glass work being done by Pine Ridge, and Lara, the big man, will draw another foul.
Ricardo Lara fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. The foul called against number 4, Isaiah Bannister-Duchette. That's his 4th personal foul, the team's 5th.
So as Mark just mentioned, Isaiah Bannister-Duchette, the junior, now 1 foul away. He's going to have to be careful. We still have over a quarter remaining, 1:40 remaining in the 3rd. As Mark mentioned, this has been a very uneven game, not just in terms of like the tactics, but just the play itself. There hasn't been really any stretch of more than about 1.5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes, where the play has been smooth and even. A lot of times the ball's been going up and down the court, a lot of turnovers, a lot of fouls. It's also been uneven in terms of the pace, not in terms of moving the ball, but just how long it's taking to play, moving. In the meantime, Wekiva still with the 51-43 lead. Too long, too much muster from Profit. Zuniga will bring the ball up. And speaking of uneven, another turnover. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi, thank you for joining us on a Wednesday night. This is the last game of the preseason classic. Wekiva trying to sweep both games. They won Monday night against Lake Region. Pine Ridge trying to send a statement and right the wrong of losing to Apopka. They want to go out of here with a split as the tray goes up. Lewis skying. Oh, he went fundamental there on that rebound, getting his body in between the two big Pine Ridge players.
Foul called against number 24, Yandriel Kello Ramos. That's his 4th personal foul, and the team's 5th. Well, Neil, at this point it seems almost inevitable. Somebody's going to foul out before this game is over.
Yeah, both teams have one player that you just announced committing his 4th foul. 45 seconds remain. Lewis tries to streak through that lane, picks up the ball, overheaded right-handed shot.
Yeah, that was a desperation shot. He didn't have any other choice.
Profit from the corner, the 6-foot J, too soft. And Pine Ridge will take over possession. So a lot of action, a lot of hands touching the ball, and the end result is the score remains 51-43. Kalo Ramos brings the ball up. And this is Lara. He's going to try the tray. Rattles off. Another strong rebound. Trayvon League. Carlo Ramos into Lara. Oh, nice move by Laros and an even better pass. And not only does
number 23 Elijah Laird gets the basket with the pass from Ricardo Lara.
So there again, that unevenness, that was the smooth, efficient, fundamentally sound side of the unevenness.
Pete Lewis is called with his 4th personal foul.
And that's the 3rd player that you've called committing a 4th foul. 51-46, 12 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Wekiva with a 16-0 run to take the lead midway through the 2nd quarter. Griffin, finger rolls in.
Joshua Griffin from Darius Livingston, and that will be the last word of the 3rd period. We'll go into the last break with the Mustangs up by 7. 53-46 is your score with 8 minutes left in the ball game. We'll be back with the last 8 minutes in just a moment. Welcome back to Mustang Arena for the final 8 minutes of the preseason classic. Wekiva has the opening possession of the 4th period.
Wekiva holding a 53-46 lead. They're looking to sweep both of their preseason classics, certainly the way you want to start the season. Wekiva coming off an 11-15 season. This is Livingston, short. Hardy snags the rebound, and Livingston will reset the offense. Profit driving, and a lot of contact among the trees. And the refs say not only is there no foul, but a travel and a turnover.
Well, it has to be something. If it isn't a foul, then it has to be traveling because he didn't dribble either.
So the biggest story, this has been a very uneven and a very rough game in a number of ways, but probably the story sticking out the most, and that is fouls. There's been a lot of fouls. Both teams were in bonus as a spin by Carlo Ramos.
Carlo Ramos spins for 2 for the Panthers.
Both teams were in double bonus, about 2 minutes remaining in the first half, and they are now 6 for Wekiva, 5 for Pine Ridge.
Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Jamar Hammond, Isaiah Bannister, and Avia Charles.
And the 2 players for Wekiva who have 2 fouls are number 11, Pete Lewis, and number 4, Isaiah Bannister Lewis. Number 2, Damian Harris, has 4 fouls for Pine Ridge as Hardy puts the ball up, can't get the roll. And speaking of Bannister Doucette, this time he draws the foul.
Foul called against Panthers, number 20, Trayvon League. That's his 3rd personal foul, the team's 6th.
And so both teams now have 6 and will be in the bonus the rest of the way, still 7:01 remaining.
Bannister shooting 2.
And we've talked about this throughout the game, Mark. It's not just the fact that players are going to the free throws. You know, if you get 5 fouls, and we just mentioned there's 3 players combined with 4 fouls, you're ejected. You know, you that's the end of your night, and you have to replace that player. And that changes the strategy, the tactics of both teams. So
I'm
the
not
score.
sure how we got to. I guess he was behind the arc going up when he was fouled, so he's going to take 3 shots here.
Yeah, okay. So.
Oh, no, wait. I think they waved off the first one.
Okay.
That's my mistake. Okay, so they waved off the first one, so now he's effectively 2 for 2.
Yes. And I did not miscount. There were actually 3 free throws attempted.
No, it's just the first one didn't count.
Fouls. Right.
Yeah.
But there was an actual attempt.
Yes, I heard the whistle and didn't actually see the referee's signal. That it must have been a lane violation.
So 55-48, Pine Ridge with possession, trailing. Carlos Ramos unable to get the drop. Bannister Lewis.
Doink!
And he did that Monday night. He took a long outlet pass and tried to get the slam. And now confusion. A whistle was blown as Pine Ridge outletted the ball. 55-48, 6.5 remaining. And the refs are now going to confer. They're waving the players off so they can talk.
So what I think I'm hearing is that the whistle noise came from the crowd, and so that's why Wekiva stopped playing, and then the Panthers took the ball and went and tried to score.
Yeah, all of which was set up because Bannister Doucette tried to slam the ball, and instead he just made a long rebound as contact as the ball hit the back of the rim. And the ball was picked up by Pine Ridge about 5 feet inside the center lane on the Wekiva side of the field.
So the ruling is that after the missed dunk, there was a whistle noise that did not come from the officials that inadvertently stopped play. And so in that case, we go to the possession arrow, and the possession arrow currently favors the Panthers. So it'll be Panthers ball, and the possession arrow will change.
So a bad break for Pine Ridge, even though we're the Wekiva in-house announcers, Mark. I think you have to still say that's a bad break for Pine Ridge. They had a transition opportunity. On the other hand, though, all is not lost. The ball does remain with the Pine Ridge, and they will certainly still have the opportunity to cut into a 55-48 deficit.
Yeah, and let me fix that on your scoreboard at the bottom there. I had lit up Wekiva because I didn't change it when they threw it in for the fourth quarter. It is Pine Ridge's ball, and now it's going to be Wekiva's ball.
Zuniga with possession. He stops, throws up the 3, and drains the rain.
Elijah Zuniga for 3. Well, Neil, maybe not such a bad break after all.
The end result is the same of what could have been. And that's points and cutting into the Wekiva lead. This is Charles. Goes full circle. Too hard. Too much mustard. And a foul on the rebound. And remember, we have had a lot of fouls throughout this game. Over 20 on both sides.
Foul called against number 23, Elijah Laird. That's his 3rd personal foul. At the line shooting 2 for the Mustangs, number 21, Vosi Prophet.
Prophet with 14 points. Make that 15. And Jameric Hammond, who committed his 3rd foul 2 minutes into the second quarter, is the leading scorer with 20 points. He has not committed a foul since then. And, well, he did his job halfway.
They got the rebound, but not the pass.
And on the other end, Pine Ridge takes advantage.
Elijah Zuniga floats in a 2-point jumper.
56-53. So Wekiva's lead cut in two. Wekiva leading by as many as 7. Down to 3 now. 5.5 remaining. Hammond over to Charles.
Keep in mind, both of these teams are in bonus, so we're going to shoot on every foul for the rest of the game, whether they're going up or not.
And again, no sooner do you say it.
Held ball, possession, Mustangs. Checking into the game for Wekiva, number 1, Darius Livingston.
And Jameric Hammond, again, with 20 points, is going to set.
Also in for the Mustangs, number 11, Pete Lewis.
Hammond takes a seat. I don't expect that Jameric is going to be on the bench too long. I think Coach Lubin just wants to give him a quick breather before the final 5 minutes. Meantime, the battle rages on. Charles with the ball at the top of the key, reverses, goes right, back to his left, passes to Livingston, who just came in. Hardy, no penetration yet. Now we're starting to see some penetration. That's Lewis. Bounce pass to Hardy. The floater, short, clinks off the rim. Hardy doing work, getting his own rebound. And Charles, with 5 minutes remaining, will reset the offense. Double teamed. Out to Hardy. Lewis with the drive, lowers the shoulder. Off angle, Bannister Doucette. Snagging the rebound, but can't get the putback. And as I mentioned, Hammond comes back in. He was out for about half a minute. Profit will come in with Hammond. The 2 leading scorers, not only for Wekiva, but for the game. 20 for Hammond, 15 for Profit. Speaking of Hammond, he takes the ball at the top of the key, the senior point guard, who Coach Lubin describes as the engine. Long range from Profit. Drain the ring!
Profit for 3.
So Lubin goes to the bench, and the 2 players combined to drop the tray. Hammond with the assist.
Technical foul is called against number 21, Vosi Profit. That's his 3rd personal foul, the team's 7th. At the line, shooting technical free throws for the Panthers, number 15, Ricardo Lara.
So Profit gets the tray, again with Hammond. They had just been put back into the game by Coach Lubin, but Profit, I think you can chalk that up to inexperience. And Mark, what exactly was the cost of the the technical?
You know, I didn't see it. I'm thinking it was something unsportsmanlike that happened immediately after the shot went in.
Yeah, I didn't see it either. Of course, Profit is on the far side of the court from us, and in the transition to go from offense to defense, the players were in front of them.
Yeah, obviously it wasn't holding on to the rim because that was a 3, not a dunk. So, nevertheless, Ricardo Lara draws the foul. He'll go to the line and shoot, too. The foul called against number 11, Pete Lewis. That is his 5th personal foul, and he will retire from the game with 4 points and 3 rebounds.
So it's no secret. You've mentioned it several times here in the second half, Mark. Eventually somebody was going to foul out. Unfortunately for Wekiva, it was Pete Lewis. There are still 3 other players with 4 fouls at this point. And Lara continues at the free throw line. He continues to score via the free throw. 59-56 now. Wekiva's lead, which was once 7, now cut down to 3. So it's certainly been an interesting and entertaining as well as dramatic game, Mark. Of course, that is not because we've seen smooth and well-executed play throughout. It's been a very uneven game in terms of smoothness of the execution. As Charles takes the play and makes the withdrawal.
Javier Charles picks up the layup for the Mustangs.
So Charles coming through for Wekiva, 4:15 remaining. Charles, the junior, starter last year. In and out, rattles. Out of bounds.
It's going to stay with the Panthers.
Yes, Pine Ridge ball. And certainly, since Charles slashed and dashed through the lane and used the bank to get the deuce, this crowd, you can hear the volume of the fans rise. about 100 in attendance for this final game of the 2021 Preseason Classic. Harris, long outlet to the top of the key, and Zuniga set the play. Lara, back to Zuniga, gets the pick, does not take the shot. Lara will try to move inside, and he draws the foul and hits the deck. And it is on Livingston.
Mustang foul called against number 1, Darius Livingston. That's his first personal foul, the team's 9th. Ricardo Lara will go to the line and shoot 2. And boy, I tell you what, Lara, is like a tank driving through the key there. He's either going to knock you over and get that basket, or he's going to draw a foul in the process. And he is probably their best free throw shooter.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's a very good free throw shooter, which oddly enough, it's not very common.
Yeah,
you would think big
10
men,
of 12 tonight, making 11 of 13.
Yeah, you'd think big men, considering how much shots they take within 6 feet, that would be one of their strengths, free throw shooting, but that's not the case. And speaking of Lara, he again continues to do the Windex, so not just scoring.
Timeout. Panthers, 30-second timeout. We'll be back from Mustang Arena with the thrilling conclusion of the Preseason Classic in a moment. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. 3:37 to go here in the ball game, and it's been a back-and-forth contest. Mustangs have been holding on to the lead for a while, but Pine Ridge has never let it get out of shouting distance.
Yeah, Wekiva took the lead with about 2 minutes remaining in the second quarter, completing a 16-0 run as Lara unable to drop the tray. Now Pine Ridge is on a 8-0 run. They could have tied the game. It's 61-59. Jamerick Hammond, the senior point guard, back to the top of the key. Hardy down to Charles. And a whistle and a foul.
Foul called against number 0, Elijah Zuniga. That's his 3rd personal foul. The team's 8th, and that will send Abia Charles to the line, shooting 1-on-1 bonus for Wekiva.
And this is a case where it's unavoidable to beat a dead horse. We've been talking about it since the beginning of the second quarter, but fouls is so important in this game. Both teams with over 20 fouls. Pete Lewis has already fouled out for Wekiva. 3 players have 4. I believe 4 players have 3 with 3 minutes remaining, and now Wekiva going to full court defense. Pine Ridge breaks it, and the withdrawal from the bank by Trayvon Lee.
From Zuniga for 2.
And we are tied at 61 all. An 8-0 run for Pine Ridge. Hammond with the ball extended right. Livingston's going to take the tray.
And Neil, you were a little under. We have 7 players with 3 fouls.
Okay.
Plus 2 with 4 and 1 with 5. Livingston with a nice board there. Opportunity in transition. Won't get the basket, but Isaiah Bannister-Duchette draws the foul. Block is called against number 15, Ricardo Lara. That's his 3rd personal foul, the team's 9th. So now make that 8 players with 3 fouls.
Bannister-Duchette is actually one of the 2 players with 4 fouls. This case, though, he's drawing the foul. He's gone to the line. This is his 3rd time he's been at the free throw line since drawing that 4th foul. Jamerick Hammond, the point guard for Wekiva, as Wekiva goes back into the lead, drew his 3rd foul only 2 minutes into the second quarter. He has not drawn a foul since then. So Bannister-Duchette trying to follow his example of not getting that 5th foul. And Hardy doing the Windex work. Key rebound for Wekiva. They need to convert it now from the corner. Clinks off the rim. Hardy with a second rebound.
And what a beautiful rebound that was. He had to extend, almost do a backflip to get that rebound.
Yeah, that ball was like on a 90-degree angle in comparison to his head.
It was above and behind him, and he still managed to come up with it. And it looks like we're going to start with a full timeout called by the Mustangs.
So we'll see if Hardy's rebounds can be converted into points and Wekiva getting that lead back up to 3 points or even 4. 62-61 when we return, 2:11 remaining.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. 2 minutes, 11 seconds remaining in the ball game, and Pine Ridge had it back to a tie before we had a free throw made just now to put Wekiva back on top. That was courtesy of Isaiah Bannister-Duchette. And so Wekiva now has the ball in Panther territory. They'll go to the backcourt, and I think, Neil, you can't rest on your laurels here.
No, and Jermaine Hardy came down with 2 offensive rebounds to set up this play.
That should have gone in. But Bannister-Duchette gets the putback attempt. Can't make it fall, though. And there's the big man, Ricardo Lara, who's been crashing the boards all night. He's up to, 4 rebounds. You actually think we would have more than that. But the Mustangs catch a break here as Trayvon League lets the ball go out of bounds. Mustangs ball.
Wekiva maintains that 1-point lead, 62-61, 1:48 remaining. Wekiva with a 16-0 run. Pine Ridge with a couple of 8-0 runs. And a whistle along the left sideline. Hardy had possession of the ball, trying to pass it to Livingston. And again, fouls have been the story of this game. Keep an eye out for that. Hammond from the top of the key. The tray, no good. Rebound by Charles, who goes Windex for the putback.
Putback made by Abia Charles.
And now Wekiva. It wasn't the easiest of ways, but they accomplished the end goal of getting a 3-point lead.
Foul called against Mustangs number 23, Jermaine Hardy. That's his 3rd personal foul. The team's 10th. That will put the Panthers into double bonus at the line, shooting 2, number 2, Damon Harris.
So now 9 players have 3 fouls. 2 players have 4, and Pete Lewis of Wekiva fouled out about 3 minutes ago. Harris at the line and can't get the roll. Critical points missed. Critical points left on the table by Pine Ridge. It could have cut the lead to 2. And the second one, no good either. And Hammond, who we talked about, you need him as a point guard. He comes up big off the board. And now he shows.
Hammond from Livingston.
And a timeout called by Pine Ridge. Jamaric Hammond showing why. Coach Lubin calls him the engine.
Timeout called by the Panthers.
Jamaric Hammond showing why. Coach Lubin describes him as the engine of the Wekiva team, hitting on all 8 cylinders, doing the work on the defensive end, grabbing the rebound, and then going bank to give Wekiva a 66-61 lead, 1:10 remaining. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. 1:10 remaining. Wekiva 66-61 over Pine Ridge. A 61-61 tie has been broken by Wekiva, 5 consecutive points. And as we went to the break, Jamerick Hammond,
that
the
was a
senior
thriller.
Point guard, doing it on both ends of the court, snagging a rebound and then getting the last pass and putting in a layup to give Wekiva that 5-point lead.
And that's one of those I like to call a 2.5-point basket because it's really worth more than 2
Momentum
points.
shifter. And
Elijah Zuniga scores a layup for the Panthers.
Yeah, and there's where you see that momentum shifting with what Hammond did. Speaking of Hammond, he sets,
drains the lane for 3 from number 23, Jermaine Hardy.
Hammond draining the rain. 35 seconds remaining. Pine Ridge needs baskets, needs points.
Mustangs on fire when it counts in a steal. Taken away by Livingston.
Livingston, and now Wekiva smartly with 20 seconds remaining is going to bring the ball out, and I'm surprised that Pine Ridge did not foul sooner. So Wekiva.
Foul called against number 20, Trayvon Lee. That's his 4th personal foul. And it's the team's 10th. The Mustangs are now in double bonus. Darius Livingston will shoot 2. But first, these words from our coach.
So Wekiva with an opportunity to get that lead up to 3 possessions. 21 seconds remaining, 69-63. A thrilling 30-minute section to set up that 6-point lead. Mustang Arena, the site. This is the 2021 Wekiva Boys Basketball Preseason Classic. Not only the 4th and final game, but the last 21 seconds. Wekiva up 69-63.
And Neil, they saved the best for last.
Yeah, this is Darius Livingston, the freshman, has a chance to secure this victory for Wekiva. It has not been the most prettiest of games, certainly in comparison to Monday night's victory over Lake Region, as a 7-point lead, 3 possession. But as they say, when the game was on the line, the big players, the stars, stepped up. Jamerick Hammond being one, Vasi Prophet, Darius Livingston getting that 8-point lead. The score was tied again, 61-61. Wekiva rambled off 6 consecutive points, a couple of free throws by Bannister Doucette, and then Jamerick Hammond pulling down a rebound, taking the 3rd and final pass, going off the board to score the points. And that gave Wekiva a 5-point lead with 30 seconds remaining.
This is a tough mistake right here. Foul is called against Mustangs, number 12, Avia Charles. That's his 3rd personal foul. At the line, shooting is number 0, Elijah Zuniga. And I didn't see the official signal, but I think this is going to be 3 shots because I think he was behind the arc.
And also want to point out, Mark, as Wekiva catches the break there, the missed free throw. Talked about throughout the whole game, fouls have been the story of this game, but perhaps the biggest story within that context is the foul that was not committed. Jamerick Hammond had 3 fouls 2 minutes into the second quarter. He has not committed a foul since then and has scored 22 points.
Yeah, with 13 seconds now, this game is essentially out of reach. But so you can believe that the Panthers are not going to go quietly into the night here.
No, and they're trying to foul. Now, Wekiva doing an excellent job of avoiding that foul. Some great spacing. And I just mentioned Hammond and how he's avoided that 4th foul and has continued to score. So
foul called against number 0, Elijah Zuniga.
And Hammond will have an opportunity to put this victory away for Wekiva.
His 4th personal foul at the line shooting, Jamarick Hammond.
1 free throw should do it. That will be a 3-possession game with only 7.7 seconds remaining. Doesn't take convert the first free throw. So certainly if your Coach Lubin talked about this at the beginning of the second half, you can't be happy with the inconsistency that Wekiva has showed in terms of the smoothness of their play and the execution, as the final 5 seconds is going to come off. But nonetheless, to come back after trailing by 6 points, getting off to the rough start, you have to be happy with that resiliency.
The final basket by Elijah Zuniga will score, and that will make it a 5-point victory for the Mustangs. And that takes us to the end of the 2021 Wekiva Boys Basketball Preseason Classic.
And that resiliency started with about 2 minutes into the second quarter. Wekiva put together a 16-0 run. Again, the catalyst for that was none other than Jamerick Hammond, the senior point guard, who avoided getting that fourth foul, and Vasi Prophet, who just a year and a half ago was playing on the freshman team, now starting for the varsity team. The final score, 72-67. Take us home, Mark.
We thank you so much for coming out in person or joining us online to support your Mustang and Panther athletes this evening. We would like to remind you that the girls basketball team will be playing tomorrow night at 7:30 against Ocoee as they begin the first round of the Metro Conference Championship. As for the boys, they will have their first regular season game at the Metro versus Florida Challenge at Apopka High School. That's coming up a week from Friday at 4:30 against Orlando Christian Prep. We hope you'll join them over at Apopka for that. Once again, thanks for joining us. For those of you in the arena, please drive carefully and arrive home safely. Those of you listening online, thanks for tuning in, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel before you call it a night. My thanks to Keith Dickerson and his entire team at Wekiva TV Broadcast Production. For Neil Fisher, this is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, wishing you a good night from Mustang Arena. This has been a presentation of Wekiva High School Athletics in association with Orange Technical College, both a proud part of Orange County Public Schools. We'll see you tomorrow with girls basketball. Good night.